Welcome to my channel. I'm Maddie and I'm going to talk about the books I want to prioritize for 2026. Now, I usually like to read horror, sci-fi, those are definitely my favorite, but I do like to mix in other things as well. These aren't new releases, this is just what I want to make sure that I get to this year. Really excited about some of these I've been thinking about for years, so it's time to get them off my TBR. So, let's start with my favorite genre, sci-fi. First, we have The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I read my first Le Guin book this year. I read Left Hand of Darkness, and I won't lie, it took me like a little bit to get into, but oh my goodness, once you got into the relationship between the two main characters and the endings, I'm obsessed. So I needed to pick up another one of her books. This is another really highly talked about one. This or The Left Hand of Darkness, people usually put in their top 15 sci-fis. So really excited for this one. And this one is about two opposite worlds. One is ruled by anarchist, libertarian ideologies, and one is run capitalism. Now our main character is going to travel, despite death threats, harassment, from his world to the capitalist world, to find how to solve problems on his own world. Now, I expect from Le Guin for there to be a lot of sharp commentary on kind of both of these ideologies. I think that's what she does best. She does really good commentary on society, even though she's talking about different worlds and these sci-fi things. She directly links it back to things that we deal with now. So I'm really looking forward to this one. She could be a new favorite author as well. Revelation in Space. I am a huge space opera fan. Grew up on Star Trek, so anything space opera is my cup of tea, and this one is marketed as an epic space opera, so I had to read it. And I read the back as well as the sample, and it did not disappoint. This is about scientists who are on this world, and they're trying to figure out what happened to its buried city that went extinct hundreds of thousands of years ago. Really exciting, sounds super cool. My only thing is it's super long and it's also a series. There's some debate on where to start, but I've decided to just go chronological and hope for the best. Regardless, I think anything space opera I'm gonna somewhat enjoy. Next, I have A Roadside Picnic by Arkady Strugatsky. This one is a bit interesting. You see, I only heard about this because I read Alienation by Jeff. I didn't like that one. So when I was looking up kind of reviews, because everyone seemed to love it, I was wondering if anyone else didn't like it. This is what people kind of brought up, because they said that Alienation was at best influenced, at worst derivative of this one, but that this one was a lot better because it had a plot. And that's what I think was missing from the other one. The other one had a great creepy atmosphere. Area X was interesting at the start, but it had no plot. It didn't go anywhere. And I would argue that the people who even liked the book hate that ending. So I'm interested in this one. This one is about Red. He travels into the zone and he steals alien artifacts. But when he goes in with a friend, things go wrong. He hears some news and he has to travel back into the zone to find some answers. Sounds really interesting. If it has the same atmosphere but more of a plot, I'm sure I'll like this one a lot better. Last one, we have Shards of Earth by Adrian. I've heard so much about this author in particular. So this is one where I actually looked up the author and then kind of looked through his book. This one is about Adris, who is made into a weapon to fight the Architects, who are this alien species that's destroyed Earth 80 years ago. But now, the Architects are gone, so he's just trying to, relax, live a retired life on a salvage vessel. Unfortunately for him, though, he's being constantly hunted by governments and spies, and it seems like maybe the Architects aren't gone, which I hope they aren't, because when I was reading the sample, the Architects sound really cool. They're basically this alien space species that can come and just rearrange whole planets, so they just destroy everything. And I just think that's a really cool concept. Again, another space opera that I want to get to, and I'm sure I love it. Again, another series though. So I'm not sure when I'll get to this, but I am excited for it. That's all of my sci-fi, so let's go to my other favorite genre, horror. We have first up, really excited for this one, Horror Story by Grady Hendrix. Now some people, probably people who have read it, might be like, you shouldn't be excited for this. Doesn't have the best reviews on Goodreads, but honestly, it has the same of How I Sold Your Haunted House, and I loved that one. What I like about Grady Hendrix is the crazy, the silliness, his dark comedy horror I think is just great. Like his book last year was the only one to make me laugh out loud, so I'm expecting a crazy fun time from this. And what this is about is it's a haunted furniture store. Basically IKEA, but they changed the name. And I just think this book is beautiful. Next up is a 5-star prediction for me. This is The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. I've heard nothing but good reviews about this. This follows Robbie Stevens Jr., who is sentenced to 6 months at Gracetown School for Boys, an institution that shows you the terrors of the Jimmy Crow South and the real horrors that happen in this school. Sounds like it's kind of a mix of historical fiction, so like the true horrors people went through during that time, as well as a little paranormal. And I think that's going to really work well for me, because although I don't gravitate towards historical fiction, every time I read it, I love it. And of course, I like paranormal, so I'm expecting good things from this. Hopefully it can meet my high expectations. Then we have The Har by David Sodengren. Another one, I've heard nothing but good reviews. The art on the front of the copy is very cool. This is also about an older woman. I really like that. I feel like too many books focus on young adults as the main characters, whereas this one focuses on Muriel, who lives in a Scottish fishing village, and she wants to die there. She's lived her whole life there. She wants to die there. Unfortunately, the land is being bought up by a developer, and he wants the whole town. So she's got to stop him. Sounds like she's going to get some help from a mist that rolls in, and the Har is going to help her. Really excited for this one. Hope it's gory like the cover. Hope it's super creepy. The only thing I saw though is on Goodreads, it's also listed as a romance, which I don't know about that if this is the Har, but should be a lot of fun. Last for the horror, we have The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. Now, I love zombies, okay? I have watched so many zombie movies, and World War Z is one of my top 10 all-time favorite books. So the fact that I don't read more zombie books is kind of stupid. I'm sure I'm gonna love them. So I'm gonna start with this one. And this one's an interesting concept because it sounds like it's about a girl that doesn't know she's a zombie. She's kept in kind of this prison cell with other boys and girls like her, and occasionally she's brought out to go to school and she's just really excited to go to school, and that's a really interesting concept. The only thing is, with zombies, things like that, I usually like a more zoomed out approach. Characters are great and stuff, but I also want to know why the plague happened, what it does, how it changed society, and things like that. So we'll see how I like this one, but I'm excited to read a zombie book. Now for my kind of miscellaneous, this is just other things that don't fit into these categories that I really wanted to read. And first we actually have a classic. It's called The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. This one I picked up because I actually read his book called Woman in White this year, and it was one of my favorite reads ever, but definitely of the year. He just writes such strong female characters. I think the first one was published in sometime in the 1800s. And it kind of makes me a little bit dislike some of my sci-fi that I read, because if he can write such strong women, why can't they? And some of the things they write make my eyes roll now, after knowing that it can be done, even in a different time. So I'm really excited to see if that maybe he's an author that will become one of my favorites. And so this is Moonstone. It's about a huge diamond that goes missing from an Indian shrine. Fun fact, this is apparently what started the detective mystery genre. Then we have Say Nothing, a true story of murder and memory in Northern Ireland. This is about the disappearance of Jane McConville in 1972. She was last seen being taken from her house by masked robbers. Seems like everyone knew or hinted at that the IRA did it, but no one wanted to speak up, and she was never seen again. The author uses this, it sounds like, to kind of highlight and go into more of what was happening in Northern Ireland at that time during the Troubles. And I picked this one up because I'm interested in that time period of history in Northern Ireland, probably because my granny actually immigrated from Belfast, and we've had cousins immigrate all the way up until like a couple years ago. So I'm really interested. It was also interesting, we all went back in 2017, and just to see how much has changed from their viewpoint and their stories was really interesting. So I'm interested to learn more for sure. The next book we have is actually the only continued series. The rest I'm starting, which, oh boy. But this one is the second book of the God and Monsters book. This one is called The Throne of Broken Gods. And if you didn't know, the first book was the Book of Azrael. Now, I typically don't read or like a lot of romantasy, but I thought that book was a lot of fun. I didn't get emotionally connected as much as other people. Like, I know people cried at the ending, but I just thought it was cool. The banter was fun, the action was fun, and thank goodness for once they were actually enemies. I can't believe how many on the back will be like, enemies to lovers, and then you read it and they're like teammates and they're friends right off the bat. Or enemies to lover, and it's like as soon as they see them, they'll be like, I shouldn't love them, but I do. And I hate that. So I liked that they're enemies. And I think how this one's set up, I'll like this one even more. I don't want to give too much away because it's the second in the series, but I have a feeling that the female character is going to be an absolute badass in this book. And there's going to be some more enemies in the future. So don't know if I'll continue the series, but I'm at least very excited for this one. Next book is The Monk by Matthew Lewis. This book I picked up because if there was one thing I learned about my reading this year is that I love Gothics. Every Gothic I read, I ate up. Specifically, like even more niche, I really liked queer Gothics this year. So I had to pick up one of like the original, the OG classic Gothics. And this one is about a monk who basically spirals down a diabolical decline of temptation. It's supposed to be very obscene, especially for its time. So we'll see if it lives up to like today's time and if it's still got that Gothic vibe that I absolutely loved. Also, people are probably going to think I'm crazy for this, but I love the cover of this. I think it is stunning. So really hoping I like this one so I can keep it on my shelf. Next up is an interesting kind of category. I like to read books that have also been movies so I can watch the movie as well. So these are all the books I want to read and watch the movie or TV show as well. Starting with The Shining by Stephen King. He is my favorite author, or one of my favorite authors, and it feels criminal that I haven't read this yet. This is one of his most popular books, definitely one of his more popular movies. I need to read this. I think I did watch the movie, but a long time ago, so I'd be excited to read and watch the movie and see if either one scares me. If you don't know what this is about, Jack, who gets a new job at the Overlook Hotel, as its off-season caretaker with his family. However, the longer they stay isolated up there, the more remote it feels and the more sinister it gets. So, really excited. Stephen King has scared me with Salem's Lot, but even if it doesn't scare me, I really like and enjoy his writing. Next up, we have No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. I read The Road this year, and I absolutely loved it. Again, new favorite, possibly new favorite author, so I had to pick this up. Plus, I haven't seen the movie, and the movie's also highly acclaimed. I don't know how similar or different they are to each other, but I'm looking to watching the movie and reading the book to find out. Now, this one I know is going to be different than The Road. The Road is his only sci-fi dystopian, but I just really liked the writing in it, so I'm willing to give his other stuff a shot. This book is set in the borderland Texas in the 1980s, following a drug deal gone wrong. This is kind of more what he writes about, so I'm looking forward to reading this. Next, I don't think this book needs any introduction, but this is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I've heard really good things about this book. The only small caveat I heard, which I could say a lot about sci-fi in this time, is that maybe he doesn't write the female characters the best or the strongest, but still a lot of people say this is like a 5-star read. And I also love the original movie, so I'll be reading this and then going back and watching that original movie. Lastly, we have a cult classic. I have watched the movie, loved it, haven't watched in a really long time, so I want to rewatch, but I've never read the book, which is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. And can we just talk about this cover? Oh my goodness, I usually don't like special editions or sprayed edges, but the cover of this one is pretty ugly. It's got people on it, and this wasn't any more expensive, and I just think it's gorgeous. I haven't picked this up because typically I don't like fantasy all that much. It can be really hard for me to find one I love, but this just sounds like a really fun time. Going to be lots of comedy if it's anything like the movie, so I'm really excited for it. I'll read you the back in case you haven't seen it. But as Florin and Gilder teeter on the verge of war, Princess Buttercup is devastated when her one true love dies at sea. But instead of being able to grieve in peace, she finds herself kidnapped by a mercenary and his henchman rescued by a pirate. Then forced to marry Princess Humperdinck, and finally rescued once again by the very crew who absconded her in the first place. This sounds like it's going to be just action, fun, filled adventures, so I'm looking forward to this one. Those are all the books that I want to definitely read this year. I'm going to read more. There's other ones I still have on my TBR, but these are just the ones I don't want to see a year go by and still be on my shelves because I'm just really excited to get started with them. And also, some of them, if I don't start this series now, when am I going to get to it? So I will see you guys on the next one. Hopefully you liked this. I just do this to speak into the void about books so I can stop annoying my friends and family. Have a good one.